All right, this is episode 49 of Indecisive Cinema. Uh,
I'm Carlos Hernandez.
hey, we remembered. I'm Jeremy Knight,
Yes.
and today we're talking about If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. We're going to do full spoilers on that, and
Yeah.
we've got a few other things, but I didn't see a lot of movies this week. I've been busy. Carlos saw a few things though, so I might
Yeah.
have him talk about the Ugly Stepsister. And then I finished Fallout season 2, which we're not really. I don't really want to get into TV on this show that as much as
No.
we used to. But I
Yeah.
might just do a quick review of that, and then yeah, that's it. So it'll be a shorter episode today, I think. But
Okay.
apparently the last week's episode was our best performing ever, and I think it's because of the kiddies, not because of us.
Imagine.
Um, I see people only tune in for the kiddies. I get it. I
The
see how it
kids.
is. But as
I
an
got my
artist,
cat
I
sleeping
won't
over here.
I
Yeah.
won't pander. I'm not gonna. No more kiddies on the show.
Sorry,
Anyway,
Midnighter. You're not allowed. But yeah.
there is one. There is one sleeping right over here, Mr. George,
Yeah,
hanging out in my
yeah,
room.
mine is too. He's right there. And Uber's trying to get on, but he's too big. He's trying to get up here.
Well, cool. Well, let's get into
So
it. We have a little bit of movie news. Unfortunately,
yeah.
Robert Duvall passed this week. Figured that was
Yeah.
worth
Yeah.
discussing. He was old. Not that that doesn't make it tragic, but had a great career and worth
Yes, he
noting.
did.
I think. What's your favorite of his as far as just characters and roles?
It, it's funny because I was thinking about it and I was like, damn, what's my favorite Robert Duvall film? I don't want to go and say The Godfather 1 and 2 because that's basic. Um, Let me see. Oh, well, no, that's not my favorite, but I love him in what was that? Four Christmases. He's great in that.
Mm.
I think he plays himself in that more than anything else. Oh God, I love him in so many movies, but it's like now to just narrow it down is crazy.
I mean,
Oh my
I
God.
mean, there are a lot of smaller roles. I think, I mean, as far as like
Yeah, yeah.
leading role or not leading roles,
The
but really
Great
iconic.
Santini. The
Yeah.
Great
Is
Santini.
that your
Yeah.
favorite?
Yes, that is.
He's
That
also, I
is.
saw he was in Network, but I have actually never seen Network. It's on my list.
He's in a small role in Network.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. I wasn't sure. And then The Apostle, which I think I've seen it once at some point. I wasn't huge on that. And Apocalypse
Yeah, I didn't
Now,
like that either.
he's great in
Oh
that.
well, yeah, yeah, that's
Smaller
right. He
role.
is amazing. That yeah, but I love that role.
I mean, I think The Godfather is still. I mean, I know it's a boring answer, but that's
Yeah,
an
right.
iconic character, and he is really
Yes.
great in that movie. So hard
Yeah.
to hard to say that's not his best work.
True.
In my
But I
opinion.
do. But now that you say, yeah, Apocalypse Now, Charlie Don't Surf. That's a great sequence. That whole scene.
He's got like 125 credits or something so over his
Yeah.
career.
Right.
So there's a lot to choose from. The other notable celebrity death was James Vanderbeek died. Who
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not. I can't say I've seen like Dawson's Creek or
I
Varsity
did.
Blues. I know
I
those are
did.
really. I mean, I know of him and I know what he looks like and who I know who he is.
Yeah.
Wouldn't say I'm like a fan or anything, but rest in peace. He was young though. He was like
Yeah. He's
49 or 50.
49, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Something like that. Yeah, it
that's
was in
really
his
sad.
40s, late 40s.
So
I
go ahead.
actually um since I was a big fan of Tarantino and then Roger Avery, I saw Rules of Attraction, one of Roger Avery's
Mm,
better films. And it was basically the unofficial sequel. It's actually the sequel in book form, but the movie was never sold as a sequel to
mm,
American Psycho. But basically, yeah, James Van Der Beek played Patrick's cousin in the film in college, and
mm,
it's a really good. It's like if you ever watch it, it's good to see Roger Avery's direction, and like I think it's the most James Van Der Beek has ever played against type, playing an
mm.
evil character and everything.
Yeah, that sounds
Um,
interesting.
and I also like, since we're mentioning TV a little bit, the bitch in Apartment 23. He played
Mm.
himself in that, and that was really funny. But
Yeah, he had a lot of comedy roles later
yeah, yeah,
in his career, and just playing himself in a lot of stuff
he
too.
was a lot of stuff.
Going
Yeah,
through his IMDb just a little bit ago, but yeah, rest
but
in peace
definitely
though.
watch Rules of Attraction. I think you might dig it. Yeah,
Other than that, there wasn't a whole lot of movie news. I mean, I know we saw you this weekend, so I saw you 2 days ago.
yeah,
We
I
already
know.
kind of talked about anything
The
probably worth
infamous
talking about.
Friday, but yeah,
No, it was fun though. I mean,
no, no,
other
I
than the
did.
incident, but I'm glad that everybody's doing
Kind
all
of
right.
Doug, your friend's really cool.
Some of
Yeah,
them are
yeah,
all right.
she's good. She's out working now.
We lost you there for
But
a second.
since you said that, Oh, I'm sorry. Am I back?
You're good there now. Yeah, I think you're back.
Am I back? Can you hear me? Oh, okay. Yeah. But yeah, really, really good. I know we saw each other. But everybody's good now. Everybody's cool. Um, but yeah, yeah. I did have one thing to say on movie news.
Hmm.
Again, I know you're not really like invested, and I'm not to say anything but wrong with that. But I was watching a little clip about the new Cliff Booth film,
Yeah.
and then I found out that, which is weird and interesting, that David Fincher's directing it,
Oh, yeah. I heard that he was right. That Tarantino was just writing it,
wrote it, and he's
which is
directing
a
it. Yeah,
unique pairing of people.
yeah,
But
right. I thought that was funny, and yes, it's going to Netflix because David Fincher has a deal with Netflix. That's what I said. I was like, I never even heard of Tarantino making a deal with Netflix, but I'm more interested now because I love David Fincher.
I would say I am too, because I don't know that I care for a sequel to that movie.
Agreed.
I mean, I like
Yeah,
the character a lot, but I mean, I
yeah,
just don't think we need another thing. But if David Fincher's going to do it, I mean, there's clearly something there.
yeah. Agreed.
Not that
Agreed.
Tarantino, I mean, anything he
No,
makes,
no, yeah, yeah. But I
but
agree with that. I
yeah.
was like, Fincher's going to direct it, and they were talking about how it was an interesting thought that they said that Tarantino was too close to the character, and
Mm,
he made him kind of soft, even though the end of that film of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
sure.
Cliff is savage.
Yeah.
But they said that Fincher is taking it, since it takes place in the late 70s, it dives into that late 70s film feel
Mm.
slash what's going on in the world. So I thought it was a
Yeah, that could
really
be cool.
interesting bent. Yeah, and then they say, Fincher's going to give him a darker bent that he showed at the end of the film, so, and, it's, again, hopefully filled with, the whole lore of Hollywood in the 70s, which,
Yeah.
like I said, is my favorite,
When
second favorite film genre.
he's done like West Coast before, like with in that era with Zodiac. So
Oh, yeah, which
I
I
think, I
love. I
mean,
love.
yeah, Zodiac's a master. I mean, I think that movie's incredible. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see. I mean, obviously, he's just one of the most stylish filmmakers that works
Yes.
these days.
Yes.
So always interested in what he's got going on. I didn't love his like The Killer wasn't like my favorite
Yeah.
thing.
Right.
It's still solid though. I mean, I think the
Yeah,
first
it
like
was
hour
okay, but
was great,
yeah,
or
it
maybe
just
like 45 minutes.
yeah, it didn't feel like a classic Fincher film,
Hmm.
But yeah, yeah.
Well made, and
Oh
well
yeah, yeah, yeah.
executed, but just
Stylish. Yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
don't know.
some of the motivation for like all of like the I don't know, like the his girlfriend character who shows up for one scene, and then there's just some like really weird kind of
Yeah.
plot, what's the word I'm looking for when it's like not motivated by narrative, it's just like convenience.
By
I,
narrow, yeah. I was
I
like,
forget I'm going blank on the term.
I know.
But
I'm like
contrivances,
like a gratuitous
yeah.
contrivance. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like it's just like a plot. It's like
Oh
a
no.
plot motivated thing as opposed to I don't know. They're just I didn't feel like there was like an emotional core to that movie. And some of his stuff, a lot of his stuff is cold like that, but that was one that just kind of left me going,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But well made. I like the whole first act of it is really good up until the trigger's pulled. I think all
Yeah.
that's really great, and then I think it kind of fizzles out. But anyway, they were not. This isn't a review of The Killer, but I'm still
Yeah,
interested in
yeah, I know,
seeing
right?
what David. I mean, always interested in what David Fincher's got going on. So,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
definitely.
but yeah, I mean, other than that though, I don't know. I didn't really. I looked to try and see if I could find anything else worth talking about movie news wise, and again, I didn't
Yeah,
see a lot of. This is going to be a short one probably as far as just
yeah.
content goes. I did going into the stuff we have watched though. Marissa and I are working through Andor, which is I'm
Yeah.
late to the thing. I'm late to the thing. We're still not done with season one, but we finished the Prison Break episode, and I
Yes.
mean
Nice.
it's like it is like top. I think it's the best Star Wars thing I've ever seen. Like I honestly think it's on par with. I mean, I think the quality of the narrative and just the execution of the ideas that it has, and the just the modern aesthetic, but also
Yeah.
timeliness of some. I don't think it's. I mean, it has a lot of ideas, political ideas, and
Yes.
the
Yes.
show is very political, but I think it's not like it's done in a tactful way that I think is really
Yes.
impressive. And I
Yes.
think that just that for me, what I love so much about it is just the sheer oppression of the empire in the show
Yes.
on like a
Yes.
local level and the way that it explores that. It's just good sci-fi. I feel like in that regard, just kind of diving in and kind of I want more of this kind of thing, just like more isolated stories set in the
Yeah.
Star Wars universe. And I mean I've heard so much about Andor, and I'm not surprised that it's great, but man, it's just I think
What?
on another level of quality of like every. I mean, seriously, I think it's as good as some of those original films. I think it's that
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Well,
So
I
I
mean,
haven't seen season two, to be fair, but I've heard good
yeah.
things. I don't want your opinion on that because we're
No,
still
no, no,
watching it.
no. I was going to say that, out of all the films outside of Empire, which is my favorite,
Yeah.
Rogue One is my second favorite
But we,
film. Such a
you know what? We
yeah,
did rewatch that, and I was blown away. That movie's
yeah,
great.
right,
I mean, I hadn't
yeah,
seen it since theaters, and I mean, I don't want to
yeah.
get too far down the rabbit hole
No,
of
no, no. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
this isn't a full review of those things, but yeah, Rogue One holds up. I mean, that movie's great. It
yes,
makes you want to
amazing.
stand up and cheer at the end. I mean, same thing with the Andor though. There's
Yeah,
sequences of it where you're like, it's kind of like in One Battle After Another, where you feel like you're part of the rebellion. Like there's like
yeah.
seriously though, there's like a
Yes.
tangible feeling of like, wow, this is exciting and just emotionally resonant. I mean, I think it's just fantastic stuff. I'm so
Yeah,
excited
yeah,
to keep rolling through it. And the other thing I did see also was Fallout season two, which I'm
yeah,
huge on. I mean, I think this show's great. We loved season one, Marissa and
yeah.
I, and I'm a huge fan of the games. And I think I don't know, have we talked about this already on the show? I don't think we did, but
You always delve a little bit about Fallout, but we don't go into it because we're not talking about that. But
sure,
I
no
again,
spoilers
like
or
I
anything. Yeah.
no, 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 and that's what I was going to say. I don't. I was going to ask you, like, because I only saw season one. I haven't seen season
Mhm.
two. But
Yeah, I won't spoil anything, but
does it maintain the same goodness of season one?
I think it's I mean, I think the quality is definitely there. I
Yeah,
think,
yeah,
the structure of this season is that it's split at the end of the last season, all the characters get split up. So
yeah,
I think
yeah.
there's a little bit of like a reworking the dynamics to either get them back together, but also just like, you have a lot of these characters in their isolated stories, and I think that's not going to work for everyone. I
Yeah,
do
yeah.
really, I mean, I still think it's like one of the best looking shows on TV, and I think it still understands what the games were and at
Mhm.
its core
Yeah.
and what made those great. And I think it just builds on the foundation of what the first season did. I think I mean, I don't know if it's almost close enough that it's not worth comparing.
Oh, okay.
I think it's another really strong season and just
Okay.
I mean, just a brilliant execution of a series that I love. I mean, the Fallout games have always been a huge part of. I mean, I've played every one of them and have loved
Yeah.
them since I was a kid, and so to see some of the ideas in those games portrayed on screen, like one thing in particular, not getting spoilers or anything, is like there's a sequence where it showcases VATS, which is like in the games, this is not a plot thing at all. It's just like in combat in the games, you like zoom in, you can like identify a specific part of the body
Yeah.
on the enemy, and then
Hmm.
it'll like when you fire the gun, it'll launch the bullet, and you go into like I don't even know, it's like slow mo, and you watch the bullet like fly into their head.
Into
And there's a
the
sequence in the show in season two where they like execute that to perfection. It's like wow,
nice.
what a cool way to like I don't know, just take these concepts directly from the game and integrate them into a narrative and into episodic television. I think the show's done that really well the whole way through, but there's still just surprising ways that it continues to do so. So, yeah, another strong season, highly recommended. Some good TV this year. I think I haven't even seen the Game of Thrones show. Apparently, is great.
Yeah,
Also,
we're gonna wait to binge it because I hate seeing week by week, and I think so. We're gonna just wait to binge. That's what I
I
normally
mean, I
do.
love the week to week. I miss shows being week to week. I feel like TV needs to get back to like letting stuff build hype because I think when you can just watch it at any point in time and it's all out already, you don't feel like you're missing out on anything when
Interesting.
everybody's excited for the next episode. I just feel like you
Interesting.
need
Yeah, I like that concept, like the water cooler
yeah, like
concept.
Fallout even. Like I mean there was
Yeah,
like a whole thing about the finale. They released the last two episodes at the same time, I think, or
yeah,
something. There was like an interesting release schedule that was like based on the hype around the show. And I don't know, it's just like I love that idea. I love when shows can especially good episodic TV like the
yeah,
Breaking
yeah.
Bad days or
Yes.
just when those shows were airing week to week and you're like just like wow this show's just and you have like this time in between every episode to analyze every detail. I mean
Yeah, yeah.
I miss that discourse. I wish it was I don't know. I mean there are still some shows you can do that with, but anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
no, if you want to watch stuff all at once it's fine. I just we're so busy too that like taking stuff in like an hour at a time is definitely
True.
preferred.
That's
And
true.
so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it just gives us something to look forward to every week. I don't know.
And that's understandable. It's like going back to when I watched Twin Peaks week for week, and
Yeah.
then when there was breaks of 3 weeks, a month, 2 months.
Yeah.
So I know what you mean. I remember those
A year in between seasons, probably.
seasons. Yeah, right.
That's actually the one thing I don't like, though, is like the actual, because I think you lose the excitement about and just the
Yeah.
investment over the course of, but that's nothing you can do about it. That's just the way that television's produced. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I love watching stuff week to week, and Fallout's been fun with that. And when TV's good enough to be watched week to week,
Week for
I
week.
think-
Okay, I give you that. I hear you.
I mean, there's definitely stuff that I don't care enough about to sit through week to week forever. But I don't know. I mean, I think apparently the new Game of Thrones show is great, though. I've heard.
Yeah, I
nothing but
heard.
the
Yeah.
reviews are like through the roof on it, so I'm excited to see that. And yeah, other than that, great year of TV so far. So
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Andor didn't come out. That was last year, right?
That was last year. It came out in
Season
September. Yeah.
But still, you know.
But still, yeah, it's a great show. Yeah. No doubt.
Fallout's great though, and we're off to a banger of a start. So, but anyway, I guess let's talk about Ugly Stepsister, because we haven't talked about it on the show. I don't think.
No,
other
no.
than it might have been in your honorable mentions or something.
Yeah, we talked about that. I think it was in yours. Yeah, because like by that time I
Oh,
was
you
like,
know what?
oh,
It might have been.
it was yours.
Had you seen it at that point?
Yeah,
when we did
remember,
this?
and that's why I was kind of like, yeah. And then when we saw it this weekend, the fact that it was nominated for an Academy Award, I was like, holy cow, man! I was
His
like,
production design, right? Or
yeah,
costume?
yeah, costumes, I think, yeah, and but yeah, I mean, just a real quick, we did on Saturday on Valentine's. You know, I allowed her to pick her movies, and
Yeah.
we saw Ever After, Drew Barrymore's take on Cinderella. And, you know, while we were watching it, you know, I had another movie, you know, we actually had a little list too. And I said, you know what? You should watch Ugly Stepsister with me. I said, it's not scary like you thought.
more body horror
I said, it's body horror. Definitely. I said, it's gory, but she loved the substance. So
Yeah.
we ended up watching that. And you know, she loved it, and it's great to to see it again, because like I said, I surfed in October, and then we're watching again with someone who hasn't seen it, because
Sure.
I know you dig that. That's something you dig.
Oh, I love watching
Yeah,
a movie. I love watching. I forget when we talked about this recently, but I think it was with Raw. We were talking about Raw at the bar, and like you know, like watching
Cody,
watching someone react to a movie being effective is like one of my favorite things to see. Like, you know, especially a movie that is like subversive, like the Strange Darling, for instance, is one I showed to 7 people.
Love that
It was
movie.
like,
I love that movie.
yeah, it's just one of those movies that it's fun. Also, it's just a crowd pleaser, but then
Yeah.
you know, just the subversive nature of it makes it hit really hard, and I kind of live vicariously through them. And
Yeah, right.
I
That's
just,
how I felt.
It's a big
It's
joy
like-
of mine.
Yeah, I love that. You know, she's a big Disney fan. You know, she went in. She was like, okay, you know, but we ended up like, quick synopsis. You know, it's is it Norwegian?
I think
Yeah,
so, but I
it's
could be
Norwegian
wrong.
film, and basically it's the tale of Cinderella, but told through the stepsisters both. But so it's interesting to see, you know, Cinderella in the background. Her name is Agnes, but you know, and that's the only thing I didn't get, because you know, in Ever After, she ended up they called her Cinderella because she was cleaning out the chimney, and they said, oh, you're going to be, you know, getting all covered in cinder. So, you know, but in this film, they never do, because they do later on, the sister calls her Cinderella. And I started wondering if, being that there's no kind of connection, if it was just because, you know, whatever, the fairy tale. But,
Sure.
but yeah, basically, you know, the older of the stepsisters, it's Elvira in this film. And she, you know, is in love with these pulpy, which is interesting. The prince, people make these trashy, pulpy little stories and poems about the prince, and she has a crush on him. And, you know, she ends up, they announce that he's, you know, looking for a bride, and she wants to be part of this ball. And if she's in the ball after 4 months, you know, she starts to train for the ball. She's not pretty at all.
Yeah, she can't dance.
She can't dance,
Yeah.
and you know, her mother ends up.
Those sequences are really funny too.
Yeah,
And the mother's like dynamic and all that is really funny.
And I like this one, how her mother is. I think in all the versions of Cinderella, how the mother's like this, like, you know, bitchy, conniving, also slutty character as well.
Yeah.
But she gets with the money that she gets after marrying or going into this marriage. She gets her a nose job first, and then which
Oh,
is
that sequence that's I
yeah,
wrote that down. The nose scene. There's two
yeah,
scenes in this movie that are. I think the nose scene might be worse than the foot
worse
scene.
the foot scene, right?
I mean, the nose scene is horrible. It's in the trailer, and it's
Yeah,
honestly
yeah.
it's gnarly. That was actually what made me go watch it. I was like, oh, that looks
Really?
brutal. Yeah, I was like, I love the guy, the doctor too, or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
The
the
guy that like
French guy,
so yeah, he's
he's
fun.
coked up. I love him. And then even the last scene is kind of rough
Oh
too.
yeah, yeah, I forgot
When
about that. It's been a while since I've seen it.
they show in the lashes.
Yeah.
But I think the worst I think is the tapeworm scene at the end.
Oh yes, no, for
Yes.
that's oh yeah. There's a
That
couple of sequences I forgot about in that
yeah,
movie. It's
they're so
been
raw.
over a year since I saw it in Dallas randomly when I
Okay.
was there for a work trip, and so I like I was in a theater by myself. Like that, it was just one of those, but it was pretty unforgettable. I mean, there's details of it I don't remember because it's been a while, but it was a standout of last year that was just a nice little surprise.
Yeah. And like the scene where Agnes Cinderella is crying and she goes into the room because the stepmother won't bury the father, which was like the
Oh,
weirdest. I love
that's
that aspect.
yeah,
And he's rotting away in the dining room, and when she's there crying over him, which already by that time the body's already mummifying, so the
yeah.
smell's gone, and the silkworms just fix her dress.
Oh,
I thought that was amazing.
yeah.
And then the vision of her mother, which is like the fairy godmother,
Mhm.
comes, and it's just such a weird but amazing sequence, and it's just like it's a film where even though I don't want to say low budget, but it's like one of those foreign films that come out and you catch
Sure.
on streaming late at night. But it's so well done, and
Hmm.
like I said, the costumes were nominated, and
Yeah.
it's so
The
beautiful.
choreography is
And
really
and
good
but
for all the dancing stuff
yeah,
too.
right. The dance sequence was yeah. We end up like Rhonda on Google when she watches the movie, and she ends up finding out that the actress who played Elvira, the stepsister, is a dancer more than anything. They picked her because
Mm.
she's a dancer in the Norwegian
There is a
Dance
lot of
Academy,
dancing for that character, so it makes
dancing in that. Yes, and a model. So that's why she's also when she does get all the fixes, she comes out to be really beautiful. But yeah, it's just a weird and visceral bend on the Cinderella story, and I love how from the beginning, from being the ugly stepsister to the ending being a truly ugly stepsister, and I dig the sister, what's it, Amira, the other sister, the younger one, and it's funny because in Ever After also they because like I said, I grew up watching Cinderella the cartoon, and I know that the Brothers Grimm story is a little darker,
sure.
especially with the cutting of the foot and everything. Which I love the fact that she cuts off from when she passes out. The mother comes, she goes, "You cut off the wrong."
Yeah. Is that in the original story? I've never read the original story.
Yes, the original story
Mm.
is that both stepsisters start chopping away at their foot to try to fit
Oh,
into this shoe, and and in the story, in the Grimm story, the what do you call it, the footsman, the guy who comes to check every girl's foot, they're doing this in front of him, and so, but in this one, of course, she does it on her own. But I like that the sister, because in Ever After, the younger sister ends up becoming more sympathetic. She becomes a real,
mm,
like, she feels for Cinderella. And in
sure.
this one as well, like she like kind of like cuts out the whole greed and avarice of the film,
Hmm.
and like ending up becoming the stable boy that they
Yeah,
kicked
yeah.
out, and she ends up saving her sister at the end, and they run away. But I actually, it's so good on different levels, and I like that they take the story and they break it apart bit by
Hmm.
bit, giving Cinderella her story, even though she's a background character.
Yeah.
um
She kind of
the,
redeems herself a little too, as
yes,
opposed to
correct.
going down the original, like the typical tropes of this kind of film, or at least this kind of narrative, which I know it's based on, source material, but
Yeah,
still, it avoids that typical. I mean, because like honestly, like The Favorite, which I do love, also like
yes,
has
yes,
those kinds of tropes in it, though,
yes,
the jealousy and the like,
yeah,
and I think this does steer clear of some of those at least, and obviously, I think it hits really hard with the body horror when it does, and
yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
like I said,
really
that
well made.
when the tapeworm comes out, I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's horrible. It's like, and that scene goes on for almost 5 minutes,
Oh yeah.
and then it's funny because I didn't catch it the first time, but Rhonda says at the end, when the sister's taking the Elvira away, the crows are eating something. She goes, "It's the tapeworm." So she threw the
Oh,
tapeworm out. And the crows are eating at it through
oh
the.
no.
Oh yeah, and I'm like, "Oh my god."
That's gnarly. Yeah,
Yes,
it's good fun. I mean, you
yes,
compared it to the
yes,
substance. I also made a note about that. I mean, I think it's just it's like a blend of at least the tonally, and it's very much also about just the dynamic between men and women and how
yes,
the role that beauty plays and
yes,
value, and
yes,
I think it handles that with some tact as well. And it's just a lot of fun. So yeah,
yes, yes.
it is. I mean, it is a little arty, so which isn't going to be for everyone. I think it's just worth noting for anyone that wants to see it.
Yeah,
But I think there is true nastiness to it that
yes,
and just blatant comedy that I think is a lot of fun. So
yeah. It's very dark. Yeah,
yeah, definitely a recommendation for sure for me.
yeah,
It sounds like you liked it a lot too. So
yeah, yeah. I
um,
do.
I'm glad Rhonda liked it too.
Yeah, yeah. She did.
Well, I guess that brings us to because neither of us saw a lot of movies today, so or this
Yeah.
week. So and I guess that brings us to If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, which is the latest Oscar-nominated film from writer
Yes.
director. She also plays the doctor in this. Her
Yeah.
name's,
Yeah.
Mary Bronstein. Stars Rose Byrne. Christian Slater plays her like absent husband.
Husband.
Conan O'Brien plays her therapist. ASAP Rocky is like the neighbor next door at the motel that she's
The
staying
motel.
in.
Yeah.
And a newcomer Danielle McDonald. I don't know what else she's been in. Plays Caroline, the patient of
Yeah.
Linda Rose Byrne's character.
She was in oh my god, what's it called? The Reindeer, the Australian Netflix show that became a big hit last
Gotcha. Yeah, she's
year.
a
Yeah.
the one on Netflix. The
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, Baby Reindeer. That
Baby
one.
Reindeer. Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha. I
Yeah.
never saw that, but I heard good things about it.
Yeah.
I knew she was Australian though. But anyway, she's
Yeah. Yeah.
a minor role, but still very
Yeah.
good in the scenes she's in. So synopsis is this is a movie about a mother who is just just in crisis in every sense of the word, mentally. There's a hole in her ceiling which has destroyed her apartment. It's apartment or home. I don't know if where they live. I think it's a home, but
Home. A home. Yeah.
and there's a pipe that bursts in the ceiling. This is spoilers, by the way. I guess we could talk briefly about just
Yeah.
our
And I'm glad
thoughts.
you said. Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you said that because there's a scene with ASAP Rocky where, well, I mean, so okay, so I guess that kind of sums up the film. Everything you just
Yeah, I mean,
said
it's a movie.
because
It's definitely a movie about
yeah,
being a mother and the way that
mother.
mental health
Yes.
plays a role in not
Yes.
only.
Yes.
I mean, in this film, it's her daughter's dealing with kind of a mysterious. It doesn't really pinpoint what it is exactly, but we assume it's some kind
Yeah.
of some kind of
Eating
issue with the
disorder. Yeah.
digestive system.
Yes. Yes.
And so her mental health plays a role in her daughter not getting better.
Getting better. Yeah.
And so it's kind of a movie. She's also playing a therapist and is
Which
somebody
is
that goes to therapy.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
What, and this is why I want to bring up a few things
So this is
because
just our well. Let's to get our like spoiler-free thoughts on the film and whether or not you recommend it before we get into spoilers, though. So,
so I will say this: so far, every movie that you've put to watch, I've loved.
oh, good.
This is a
So
film
far,
that I can't say that I love. I can't say that I understand and appreciate what it was going for, or what it does, but it was so crazy and hectic and sometimes frustrating, because it's like funny, and I'm gonna rat it out. I had to watch a YouTube video to get my thoughts together and see if I was on the same page as this person explaining a lot of things. Luckily, I caught a lot of the things before they explained it to me, but like I did feel bad after they explained it because it's like this, like you said, it's a movie about a woman in crisis and how no one hears her,
sure.
or if they do, she doesn't hear them.
Well, and I have a
So,
note here. Just if nothing else,
yeah.
just the men in this film, have no
Yes,
sympathy
yes,
or concern for her problems. If
yeah,
anything, they diminish and belittle the
yes,
situation in
yes,
every circumstance. Every single
yes.
man in this film, it's
Agreed.
comical. Of like the parking attendant and the her husband who like I think in the end, somewhat redeemed. There's like a component of like anyway. I don't want to get into
Yeah,
spoilers,
yeah,
but
okay, yeah, yeah,
yeah. I mean, ultimately, it's a bunch of people in her life that are completely unaware of how serious the
Sh-
situation is
yeah.
and are pretty useless in assisting her in any aspect of it. Now she's also really stubborn in
But
her.
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Don't you feel that she kind of causes a lot of her own issues,
I
though?
think the movie knows that, but
Yeah. Okay.
we
All
can
right.
get into more detail on
I'm
that
glad
though.
we're on the same page because.
And I can see, I mean, so I knew that this was like a Safdie brothers level stress fest, going into this, which I mean,
Okay.
I think it is. I mean, I think it's a
No, no,
movie
no, no.
that's relentless from start to
I can
finish,
see
right?
that. Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
I think it makes for good drama, right? And I think this movie rips. I think this movie is like really effective in what it's trying to accomplish. It's a
Okay.
hard
Yeah.
movie to say I
It
love it as
is.
far as like
Yeah.
it's not a
Okay.
fun
Good.
watch. It's very much a
It's
movie
not.
about like intrusive thoughts and like just darkness, and it
Yes.
covers
Yes.
all the whole spectrum of just really horrifying mental health challenges. And I mean,
Okay.
ultimately,
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
I think all that's there. We can get into more of it, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
think it touches on all those things in a really interesting way. And I mean, I just watched it. I finished this like 2 hours ago, so it's pretty fresh in my brain.
Oh,
I haven't.
you watched it again? Okay.
No, I hadn't seen it. This is
Oh.
so when I recommend,
Oh,
it
that's
wasn't a
right.
recommendation when I
That's
chose it.
right. We both hadn't seen it. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Yeah.
So I watched it like I finished it at like 4 p.m. today, and so I haven't had a lot of time to organize my thoughts, but I could see from the get-go what it was establishing and what it was trying to showcase. And I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
the choices it makes in its presentation of all this information. I mean, I laughed out loud a few
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. I agree there too. I
It's
do
not a
too.
comedy,
Yes.
but there are
No,
moments
it's
that are
not.
so darkly funny.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
And I just think it's a really, I mean, I there's a sequence in it where she gives this great, and Rose Byrne is spectacular in
Yes,
it.
she is.
She
She is
gives this
amazing.
monologue at the end, just regarding like her capabilities as a mother that I think is
Mother.
just
Yeah.
really devastating. And yeah, I don't know. I think for me, my only if I had a minor complaint, I think some of the finals. It's a low budget film, and I think some of the motel stuff felt a little low budget, and it's in its
Mm,
construction and like even just in its execution, like the
yeah.
beach stuff and so, some of that. Anyway, but we'll get into more detail about that. But I think that the later like couple scenes in it, I think I just didn't like the way it presents some of that stuff visually, but it's a minor nitpick in a film that
Yeah.
I think is really effective in what it's doing. So I mean, that sums up a lot of broad statements about the film. I think it's great, and I think Rose Byrne. I mean, I don't know if she's going to knock off Jessie Buckley
Jesse
for Best
Buckley.
Actress,
No.
but I
No.
think she deserves to be in the category
She
this
was
year.
also
And
nominated in the Golden Globes and didn't win because of that.
I mean,
So
yeah, it's a tough. I mean, Jessie Buckley is extraordinary.
yeah.
Also, I mean, I think I mean, they both kind of run the show in both
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
films. So, but I think she puts on a clinic here as far as just the if nothing else, just the impression of how exhausted she is, like physically and
Yeah.
visibly
That
exhausted the whole
was
film. Um,
that was frustrating too. I
but
wanted her
but
to sleep. Sleep,
Yes,
woman.
but a person in crisis, it's an easier
Yes,
thing
I know.
than
I know.
said.
I
So,
know.
but anyway, I mean, ultimately, it sounds like you had some issues with it, but overall, you thought it was effective in maybe,
Effective, yes, and performances were really good. I mean, I was even surprised at Conan O'Brien playing, the straight man or against type.
sure.
Um, and yeah, I hated him too, his character,
Yeah.
but yeah, but he was good in it too. And like I said, Kristen Slater's surprise ending because I had to look it up too to see who the
I
hell's
was
her
taking
husband.
notes, and so I did
Yeah,
see he was in the cast initially
yeah,
as I was writing notes down, and so that made more sense to me. Like the whole way through, I was like, oh, that's Christian Slater. So when he shows up, I was not surprised, but
yeah.
anyway, I guess at this point we'll lock off spoilers
Yes,
from here on
yes.
out.
Let's do
So
it.
I mean, ultimately, so, going kind of to the foundation of the film, the opening sequence of the film, we establish an immediate dynamic with her daughter's representation of her mother. She says
Yes.
something along the lines of like, I think I wrote it down here. It's she calls her something like putty, she's stretchable, I think is what she
Yeah,
says. I
she
forget
tells
what
her
she
that
says. And she
yeah,
says mommy gets sad sometimes. And then
times,
she also says dad is like a unmovable force. I
of
forget who
course,
says that, but there's a line in there about how like dad is like strong and she's weak and
weak.
can be in push in is like a pushover, right? There's this idea, and she's also the daughter is clearly recognizing that there's something wrong with her mom
Yes,
as far as just like
yes.
her yeah, sadness if nothing else. So we get this
And
glimpse
the
in.
daughter says all that, just to clarify that.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, yeah. She defends herself. Yeah.
Yes, because she's immediately resistant to the idea that she's the problem.
Yes.
This is
She's exactly.
and throughout the entire film, I think every single character in this film, including the doctor, right in that initial scene, says like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I think we need to get to the root of some of these
Root.
issues that you
Yeah.
have, because I think there's no way that your daughter is going to be able to get better if you don't take care of yourself." And every character tells her, "You got to
Exactly.
take care of yourself."
Yes.
Conan
Everybody. Yeah.
O'Brien tells her, and as much as I think
Yeah.
you said you didn't like Conan O'Brien's character, I think that's a character that's completely exhausted of telling her the same thing
Yeah.
over and over and over again.
Serious. Even ASAP Rocky at one point says you should take a rest, get some sleep.
Sure.
Everyone tells her that, So
But I think it's a deeper struggle, though. I mean, I think there's
yeah,
there's
yeah,
a feeling of just complete abandonment of by her husband. Whether or not it's intentional. Clearly, I think we learn a lot when he shows up and he's wearing
yeah,
a pilot outfit, and you go,
yeah.
okay, that at least makes sense why he's
Yes.
gone. But he
Yeah.
is also sitting there the entire time telling her, like, I can't believe you. Like he's just yelling at her the whole
Yeah.
movie. He's like, she hangs up on him, he calls her back. He's just like pestering her and adding pressure to the situation as opposed
Yes.
to just
Yes.
being there for her. And I know maybe work is, it's a component of that dynamic, but ultimately though, like she's pleading for, I mean, whether or not she's asking for help, I think is a big,
Yes.
root of this character's uh, flaws, if nothing else. I think she's unwilling to see the problem,
Yeah.
but I think that's every character in every movie. Is you can't have a movie without a character that if you have a character that knows what's wrong with them, you're not going to get very far with your narrative.
I mean, obviously.
So, I mean, ultimately, I do think this is similar to a movie like Uncut Gems, and I know I don't think it's on the level of Uncut Gems, but it's also not. It's a fifth of the budget probably, and
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's exploring much more intimate themes. But that's a movie where you're watching Adam Sandler fall downstairs for 2.5 hours, right? I think this is similar in that it's like, how far can we push this character to get to the brink of just like rock bottom, right?
Yes.
But I think some really interesting portrayals of not just anxiety but like apathy.
Apathy. Yeah.
There's a line earlier where she describes feeling detached from reality and time, and there's these motifs of like ethereal like visuals, and then also the
Yes.
score I think throughout is very kind of just spacey, and I
Yeah.
think even in the way it's constructed and shot visually, like we don't see the daughter's face until the very end.
Yeah.
I think we
Yeah.
barely see other characters on screen. It's a lot of Rose Byrne's face in
Rose
close up.
Byrne. Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
I
The
and
whole.
I do think like when there's a person in crisis, it's almost like tunnel vision. There's
Yeah.
like this inability to see outside of your own personal crisis. And I think the film, the way that it ties that theme into the
Yeah.
visual and the representation of all these ideas, I think is really interesting.
Yeah. Like with the hole in the bedroom, like
Sure.
that scene where ASAP Rocky finally comes. There's a moment because that was the thing where he was saying, I don't see a pipe," and it's like when she looks at it, and again, there's a little spoiler because it kind of echoes the belly button where,
Yes.
well, not the belly button, but
You have
where
this visual motif of like a
tubing
black
yes.
hole, and it's
And
yeah.
where body horror, you talk about body horror, that
Oh,
moment,
I mean, I think
thought she was looking into that, and I was like, oh my God, I thought like it was a thing, or like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that was an amazing sequence, and, like, and when he said there was no pipe where the water was coming from, that's why I started saying, oh my God, is this going to delve into like, not supernatural, but surreal, and it's like,
I do think it does though, and there's even
yeah,
a
right,
line
at
by
that
him
moment, yeah.
earlier in the film though. He sets up there's this line about how when you die you release this like I forget if it's like I wrote it down somewhere. I got a lot of notes here. I don't remember. I'll find it in a little bit, but he talks about how like when you dream, you have the same feeling or the same release
Yeah.
of
Yes.
sorts, and there's that dreams are a big motif of this. I think
Yes.
the
Yes.
dreams of her patients, her dreams that she describes to Conan. You've also got just these like it's just echoed throughout the film. That's one component of it that I haven't quite kind of wrap my head around is what the importance of that to the broader themes. I do think some of it is just feeling detached from reality and feeling like
Definitely.
you're
Yes.
just going
Yes.
through the emotions. And she describes it as like life and time is a series of things to get through. The end is a cliff, and at the end there's just another cliff. And
Cliff.
I
Yeah.
think I think like as much as this character is flawed, it's like I mean I don't agree that it's all her fault. I do think
No, no,
I
I
think
didn't say
she's
it's all
certainly.
her fault.
Oh no, of
She
course.
adds to it. Yeah. And
Sure, she doesn't help some of the circumstances, but
yeah.
ultimately though, like it's just it's hard. I mean, being basically a single mother, I mean, I can't comprehend what that's like, but I do think, being in this circumstance, the circumstances she's in, and I also think the way that her patients influence her thought processes throughout this crisis. I think the Caroline patient in particular,
Yeah.
there's.
I won't. Yeah. Go on. I'm sorry.
Oh
We
no,
can
no, you're
talk about
fine.
it.
Go ahead.
No, because I was starting even to think at one point, almost Lynchian, in the fact that was Caroline real? Was any of that real? Like, I know, yes, because she called the cops, cops took the baby, which was also crazy. Like, cops don't just, okay, well, let me take this baby and I'll bring,
Oh,
it
that's a good
just,
point. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's
and it
funny.
seemed like, and then when she
I
shows
do
up at
like though
the
that
hotel,
the cops like, oh yeah, this just happens all the time. A
happened
lot
all
of
the
times
time.
they leave and then they come back with their tail between their
Yeah,
legs.
between their legs. Yeah. And then the
Men.
fact that the husband called, like Caroline's husband calls, similar to at one point, I started
Yeah.
thinking that the voices were the same as
No,
Christian
it reminds
Slater's.
me.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
does remind all the men in this film feel synonymous in a way that
Yes.
it actually
Yes.
reminds me of Anomalisa from Charlie
So,
Kaufman, which
yeah,
I think
Kaufman.
this film in construction does feel very similar to some of his films. But yeah, I think it really does remind me though of like they all kind of start melding and you hear
Melding.
them.
Yes. Yeah.
They echo these statements of like, why didn't you check on me? Is what ASAP Rocky tells to her at one
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Then her patient asks the same thing, and then the
Yeah.
husband, Caroline's husband, asks him that too. You're not going to check on me with
Check on me. Not gonna call
my
you.
my wife's still missing, and you're like, what? Why is she responsible for this man's like? It's just.
That's what I said. I was like, what the hell?
But I think that's part of the comedy of the film. I think it's a really dark portrayal. It's a satirical just reflection of the expectations that men put on women that are just completely unrealistic. I think that's woven throughout this in ways that are hilarious at times. I mean, just the parking attendant. It's like he's working at a hospital, a children's hospital, and he's like, like yelling at people to move their cars and telling him he's going to call the cops on him. And she's like, I'm just trying to get my kid help. Like, there's a scene where she's sleeping in the car at one point, and he raps on the door, and she screams, and it made me laugh out loud. Um, yeah, I mean, it's just there's a lot going on here, and it's often. I mean, the gerbil sequence.
Oh my god, that was so weird. It was like that. Like
Well, but
it was definitely CGI or whatever the fuck that
oh,
thing was.
sure, yeah, you can't
But it
kill
was. But
you're not gonna kill a real gerbil on camera.
no, no, I know. I just mean in the car. Like,
Oh yeah.
at first it's a real gerbil, but then it's like trying to attack the daughter, trying to attack her. And then
Oh,
like
I thought that was
it jumps
hilarious.
out of the box and it's next to her, like it looks at her, like
Yeah, it's definitely over the top, but I do think
yes, yes,
the idea that she now has to care for something else is just
yes,
comically unhelpful in this situation. But going back to the Caroline character though, and
yes,
what the
yes.
way that her journey parallels, Linda, or is Linda, what's
Linda.
her? We have a lot of Lindas. We had,
Yeah,
Send Help was also Linda.
Linda
Linda
Little.
Little. But so there's a line earlier in the film where Caroline, there's actually a line where she keeps repeating to Caroline, like, you need to go get medication. You need
Medication, yeah.
to take care of yourself so you can take care of this child. She says all these things that have been said to her the whole movie.
And that's why I actually
go.
thought that Caroline was like part of her imagination or whatever. That's why I thought like this was her telling herself this.
I think
But
that's what it's going for,
yeah,
but I don't
yeah.
know if I think she's literally doing that. I don't think it's
Okay,
any kind of
okay. I just thought it was-
supernatural.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, and
Or
I think
Lynchian,
yeah,
where
yeah.
you know
Well, I
people.
mean, in going back to Lynchian, I think the black
Yeah.
hole is very much
Oh
Mulholland
yeah.
Drive. I think there's this
Yes.
like
Yes.
this staring into the black pit almost,
Pit.
or
Yeah.
it's also Eraserhead to some degree. In a lot of
Yes.
ways, this is actually very similar to Eraserhead.
Racerhead. Yeah.
The fear of becoming a father. This is the fear of continuing to be a mother, being
Mother.
and like staring into the furnace or what I forget what it's called in Eraserhead.
The
like
radiator.
the radiator, yeah,
The
yeah. It's like
radiator. Yeah.
staring
Yeah.
into the radiator is this like black pit of despair and dread. I mean, this I think the whole in this film is 100% that. Maybe it takes too
Yeah.
much from those films, but
Imagine.
I think it makes sense, and I think the way it visually ties
Yeah.
into her immediate concerns is this hole in her daughter's stomach, and that
Yeah.
sequence almost made me throw up. I think the
That's
scene,
body horror at its
oh,
finest when
it's
she's pulling it out,
yeah.
and it's I mean, me and Rhonda like it's I'm like, how long is this fucking tube, and where the fuck is it? And she keeps pulling
I
and
mean, it's in
pulling.
her intestines though, so I mean, it weaves throughout. I mean, it could be pretty long. I don't. I
Oh
do
my
think it
god!
might be there was a point in it where I thought that didn't happen.
Yes, that's what I
Um,
was saying. Like,
I'm
is
glad it
it that
didn't
long?
because I don't think we need another movie that I think this film does avoid those tropes of like it's all in
Yeah,
her head.
head. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I mean, I think what she's seeing in the whole is very much, I think, her staring at, and this is something I want to talk about is like what
Yeah.
is the meaning of because you see these like particles in the air. There's clearly something
Yes.
like ethereal
Ethereal.
happening.
Okay.
There's a moment where she goes to the house and she turns on her flashlight and turns around and sees those lights in the room with
Yes.
her and asks
Yes.
her if it's her mom. She actually says
Yes.
like mom, and I thought that was an interesting. I don't know. I'm
Well,
sure the film.
if you hear every time she looks into this pit of despair, not only do you hear the daughter screaming like whatever happened the first
Sure.
time, like, but you also hear her talking to her mother as well, like something may have happened to her mother that was
Sure.
tragic, or
And I don't
and
know
so
if we got an answer on that. I'm not
yeah, no,
sure.
we never do,
Okay.
but definitely like at one point I was like, is we're gonna find out something happened with her mom, but then they also put the audio of her daughter screaming at
Yes.
her.
So it's all kind of
So
blended together.
yeah, it's blended together, and it gives you this kind of like there is something else that we'll never know, but it happened, and this is another reason why she is the way she is. Like,
There
yeah,
is a
yeah,
line earlier in the film where she's watching TV and there's a talk show host that's interviewing a woman and that says that if you think your mom treated you that way, that
yes,
would give you a right to beat the child or something.
yeah,
There's
Merv
this like
Griffin, yeah,
she's surrounded by these like reminders of like
no, Donovan,
child
yeah,
violence. It's that
yes,
and there's another scene where she's watching a movie where the mother eats her children and there's like clearly these like external things paralleling her biggest fears, which I think
yes,
we see in Caroline's character kind of come to life in
yes,
front of us, and in front of Linda's character. I think there's a line. I think the Andrea Yates sequence, I think
yes,
is
yes,
it
yes,
hits really hard, and there
or
that
yeah,
email that says "I'm trying so hard not to be her"
be
is a
her,
really dark idea
yep,
that I think this movie. I mean, I haven't seen anything portray that concept in a way that
yeah,
I feel like is really brutally honest and very dark. So I mean, and I think my pick of the week. We'll get into that later. I think actually hits on a lot of these ideas. But yeah, I mean, I think you're seeing her biggest fear in Caroline, and she sees
yes,
it in Caroline, but is unwilling to see it in herself, and I think all of her lack of sleep, doing drinking too much, and
yes,
and not really seeking the help to deal with whatever. I don't know if it's trauma that occurred because of her mother. I don't know if that's, or maybe her mom just wasn't there. I don't quite know what the literal. I don't think it matters that much, but
yeah,
clearly
yeah,
there's some kind of desire in her to be better than that. And I think it's shown to us through lines with I'm not so I'm doing my best. I'm trying so hard not to be her, right? It's like not
yes,
to be my
exactly,
mom. And maybe her
mom,
mom wasn't abusive. Maybe she just wasn't a good mom. I don't know. But I think that's contributing to her, like, it's just like relentless desire to constantly care for this daughter. And like, and
yes,
obviously she loves her, but, she's, got the thing on her hip the whole movie,
yeah,
the
yeah,
baby monitor. And, she's seeing that in other characters in the film, like not being able to take a second away from the child. And it's completely understandable. You can't just leave the kid alone.
yeah. Well, she does, but
She
yeah,
does a lot. Yeah. But also, it's also like, I mean, I think there's this sequence where Christian Slater's like, we're just taking a walk outside with her, and she's like, yeah, but I can't like breathe fresh air. I don't have any. There's not a second in the day. This is my
Yeah,
entire. It's taking everything from me.
yeah,
So I mean, I don't know. There's just a lot. There's a lot there, and then I also just think it's relentless in its pace, and
yes,
it reminds me of Beau's Afraid at times, like these
yeah, yes. There is some of that. Yes,
and that's part of the comedy as well.
yeah, yeah.
But just
But I mean, it
you
gives
know,
you. I mean, at least you do feel like her in the aspect that you can't breathe like her. Like
yeah,
there is no moment because it's just this moment where it keeps going and going and you feel stuffed like her too because it's like I think that's another reason why I was frustrated because I didn't want to feel like this throughout the
it's
film.
sure
You know what I'm saying?
it's not a fun movie. It
Oh
doesn't
no,
make
and
yeah
like you said, would you recommend it? I would tell people about it, but when
yeah.
I say, "Oh, but watch
There's a
it,"
warning involved, I think, for sure.
yes, yes, yes,
Um, yeah, I mean, I also think yeah, I let me look here. There's also a line at some point where she talks about having a prior abortion that she never told anyone
yes,
about, and I'm
yeah,
just curious. It's in a monologue where she's talking about like I'm one of those people that's not supposed to be a mom, is the line she
yeah,
says, and that's the sequence where. And one thing I want to discuss is Conan O'Brien tells her at that
yeah,
point, I know what you're doing here, and I won't have it.
yes.
And I was curious what you thought that meant. You know,
So that was one of the things that me and Rhonda picked up on. I don't know if they had a relationship. I don't know if that was his baby you were talking about. But when he walks
okay.
out, she goes, "I love you,"
Yeah, I
and
did
it's
hear
like,
that at one point.
yeah,
Yeah,
and that's why I started saying maybe they had an affair, maybe they had a
sure.
relationship. And at one point, this is what I mean about how I played games in my head. I started saying, "Is this her friggin' husband?" And it's like it was just very again part of the whole mysterious past and
Sure.
but yeah, it was like that's what I think he was trying to say, like, let's not, I don't want to talk about you like you're trying to get me to go back to this past relationship that we had, but
That
that's
makes
what
sense.
me I this is what we gathered from it because the way she said as he's walking out, "I love you," and I was kind of like,
No, I
then
forgot
even
about
felt,
that detail. Yeah,
yeah, and
that
then I
makes some
felt
sense.
bad for her. I was kind of like, "Damn, this girl."
Because what I
It's
wasn't
like,
sure about is to me it came across as more she was um I think what I talked about earlier, where it's like Conan is he's just tired of telling her the same thing, and
same
there's a
thing, but
sequence
yeah.
where she's like, I just want somebody to tell me what to do, and he's like, you don't need anybody, you don't need me to tell you what to do, you know what to do, you just are
Dude,
refusing to do it, right?
to do it,
Um,
yeah.
And so to me, it felt like she was getting him in a room that she's paying for, she's paying for this time, and then yelling at him as if he doesn't care, even though he's sitting there going, "I'm telling you, you're the problem." And I think that ending sequence, like the reason we end there, I think there's a recognition of that in that final scene where, as opposed to just seeing her, get it all back together, I think we end on the moment where this character realizes, okay, I need to be better. And I think
Yeah,
you look at a movie like Marty Supreme, which we talked about. I think
yeah,
that final shot is a very similar moment
yeah.
of realizing that it's not all about me,
About me,
And I
yeah.
don't think she's a selfish character necessarily. I just think she's unable to see that, she is like, I mean, she's literally trying to fix her daughter herself as opposed to
Yeah,
listening to the professionals the entire way
yeah,
through. And the daughter even tells her that, like, mommy, like,
yeah.
I don't want you to be
I,
mad or sad, but I'm not okay.
I don't
I'm
think
not
I'm
better
better.
yet.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
that's
and that
really
was the other thing, like you said,
devastating.
when Christian Slater, comes and she's like, "Daddy, but I don't think I'm still gonna eat. Like, I still don't want to eat." Like she
Hmm.
says it to him. So obviously she's not better, and obviously mentally she's not getting better either.
Sure.
And that's kind of like, I was like, oh my god, it's like at that point I'm realizing that it's like, damn, this is just gonna, and then she runs out and tries to, I guess, kill herself or whatever.
I
You
mean,
know what
I
I
think
mean?
that's
Like,
what it was. Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
jumping into the waves, and then because at one point when she's pushed out or thrown back out, she's dry, and that's why I kept saying, I was like, what the hell? And then
maybe she's just like considering it or something. But I think,
yeah, and then she jumps in, then when she cuts back out, she's wet, and then like it cuts back and forth where it shows her dry. So then I
mhm.
started saying, is it like you said, like she's thinking about doing it, but she's not gonna do it? But then when
Maybe.
the daughter the daughter finally shows her face and she comes to her. She is wet, so I mean, she
Yeah.
did jump in, obviously, but yeah, it was just like,
I do think that the final sequence is, and I think some of it's a budgetary thing, because I really think the lead up to that is just really well executed, and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I think
no,
that final sequence was a little. It wasn't that it was like I just didn't love the way it executed that idea.
yeah,
I also don't think that Caroline's character needed to show up later in the
yeah,
film at the
yeah,
hotel. I
and
thought
run
that
off
was
into the
I
beach.
thought that was a little contrived. I don't think you needed it. I think she'd already served her purpose with the email.
Yeah,
Establishing. I mean, maybe I guess it represents an option of ending your life
yeah, yeah,
to fulfill the desire to get away from the kid or the responsibilities of being a parent. But I just think that you didn't need that to get to where we got narratively. So I'm glad that she didn't like try
yeah.
and murder. She slaps her or something, but I think that sequence didn't need to be there.
Yeah, I thought she was going to harm her. I did think she was going to harm her. The way the music built, I thought she was going to like stab her or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, she slaps her and then runs off. Because
That
that's what I'm
scene
saying.
just felt a little messy. I think
Yeah,
I think because I think everything up until that point though, like her, because my mom's a therapist. We talk a lot about
yeah,
like the therapist's responsibility to, because one of the dynamics I was curious was going to get set up earlier in the film was that she was going to harm the child, Caroline, and
yes,
then
yes, yes.
Rose Byrne's character is going to be responsible for that death because she didn't
Yeah,
properly take care of her. And I don't know that would have worked, but I was curious to see if I thought that's where it was potentially headed.
yeah, I did too. When she left the baby there, I was like,
Because there's plenty of sequences through it where Rose Byrne, when the patient calls her at night and she kind of is really dismissive of the conversation, where you're like, no, red flags need to be going off. Like,
yeah, yeah,
any responsible therapist would know that this person's probably in a crisis if they're trying to schedule a
yes,
session tomorrow and they've already told you that, I think there was a line where she was saying you should go get medication. And she's like,
medication, yeah,
I'm breastfeeding. You think I want to kill my child? And you're like, oh,
child,
that's
yeah,
okay. We need to,
yeah,
there's these things. And I think Rose Byrne, again, it's like she's got these blinders on. She's incapable of being good at her job. She's incapable of being a good parent in it, and, just taking care of herself in it. I think she's just blinded by, a completely overwhelming obstacle, which is, understandable.
yeah.
But not willing to, a little too stubborn to listen to those around her in it. So yeah, but I think the film portrays all those things in a really great way. The other question, I guess I'm trying to see because I had some questions to. I mean, what do you think that the orb in the darkness is? Do we talk about that? Do you think it's just dread, or
Oh my God.
we said no kitties?
I know he jumped up here. Hold on, you've been removed from the meeting by the host. Uh-oh.
Oh, you're still in here. I can still hear you.
Okay, exit.
Ignore all that.
I know. I'm trying to get the stupid cat off me. I don't see my. Oh, here we go. Okay, there we go.
I can see you and hear you, so yeah, you're fine.
Well, no. So what I'm saying is, and this is why I mean we both are disagreeing in the aspect because I mean I love the word ethereal and you use it all. You've been using it, but I mean that's what it came to where I thought I didn't know where the film was going to go. I mean, in the beginning I was so confused. So I actually thought, is this like a horror film, and that's why is it, or is it kind of because I
Well, I
thought
think some of the
had to
ideas are horrifying.
well, definitely, definitely. But I
The
mean, I
fear
think
of killing, of harming your own child,
your own
to, like,
child,
I mean, is a really terrifying
of
concept to
course.
face. Yeah.
But I thought the orbs was her mother. I thought it was kind of in that supernatural aspect with that. But again, I mean, yes, if being that that's not what it was in the end, or in her head what she sees. I mean, it's like I have to. Like I said, I have to see this film again, but I can't bring myself to watch it again.
Oh, I don't blame you.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's like.
But I do think it's just her. I mean, I think it's, the visual motif of like her staring at her own trauma, whatever it is, and then,
Yeah,
and then
okay.
applying that to the situation with her daughter, and, just the fear of becoming, the worst mother and being the worst mother. And then also, failing to hold up to all the standards that are placed on her as a woman and a mother. I think all that's built up into those moments of, just dread, and it's like she's having a panic attack staring into this hole, this
Oh yeah,
darkness. I mean, it reminded we talked about in Sentimental Value. There's that sequence where he's staring into the blackness of the
blackness. Yeah.
room, and I think this is absolutely the same concept.
Yes. Okay. I'll accept that.
And
Like
you say that you didn't know where the film was going to go, which is fair.
yeah.
But I mean, I think Caroline's email says it all. Like, I'm trying
Yes.
so hard not to be her.
Yeah.
It's like this character is just struggling to not be the worst thing that you can be. Not just a bad mother, but a
Bad,
murderous
yeah.
one.
A murderous mother. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's there's a lot going on there, and I think
Yeah.
I was really impressed by it. So, but
And again, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to take away from the acting. I thought it was
sure,
amazing. But again, I mean, and yes, ultimately, any film that makes you uncomfortable and not wanting to be in the film, because that's what it's doing,
hmm
it succeeds at that. And I think that's
I don't think it's
why.
ever boring. Yeah.
Yeah, oh no, not yeah, not at all. But yeah, it's just like I said. I appreciate the film for what it does. I love Rose Byrne's performance is amazing, and it's sad that she won't win an award this year
Yeah,
for that.
sure. Yeah,
So
it happens.
yeah, I know every year it happens, but yeah, it's just a rough film to watch, and you experiencing this film, and it's like it's so well done where you actually go through all this with her. And I think,
Mm.
like I said, with the close-ups at the beginning, medium shots, if there's a far shot, it's someone else running away, or even when she's running, like when she runs to the house from the hotel,
Mm.
it's a medium shot. It's never a far shot.
Sure.
It
Just
makes you be
you
a
don't get
part
any.
of
You literally don't have any space to breathe
space to
with her.
breathe. Yeah, exactly. Yes. So,
Yeah. I mean, I would strongly recommend it to anyone, but with a big asterisk that it's not a
an
fun
asterisk, yes.
film to watch. And it's
Yes.
kind of, I mean,
No.
I think it's more entertaining I think it's more recommendable than something like Sentimental Value, which is very much about the darkness and, staring into the
Yeah.
darkness. But I think it's definitely tough I mean, I think a lot of moms would have a really hard time watching this, and
Oh
I
yeah.
completely
No. Yeah.
understand why.
Yeah.
But I also think that they might see something in it, and I think a lot of people, could relate to at least maybe just the feeling of, relentless.
Uber. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Uber. Bobby, come. Is nobody there? Come. Oh my god. Sorry about that, my
No,
dog.
no, you're fine. Just the that like the idea of life being relentless, I think, can be related to with everyone sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that idea of like just it being like I don't know, just a relentless experience is. I
Yeah.
think there's a lot to relate here, at least. Hopefully, everybody's doing fine and not struggling with these kinds of
Oh,
things.
well, that's true. I mean,
Um,
God forbid. Yeah.
yeah, of course, but I think it's an interesting and honest portrayal of a lot of these ideas. So I
Yeah.
really like that about it. Anyway, let's do picks of the week. What was your pick of the week?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So, my pick of the week is I was watching some of it. Thinking back, The Warriors, Walter
Okay.
Hill's masterpiece, 1979. Another great New York film of mine, and also late 70s, another great 70s
I
film.
think you're the one that showed me it for the first time. I mean, I knew what
Yeah.
it was, but
Yeah, we
we did
watched it at one of my film
your
fests.
New York film festivals
Film
where we would
fest,
get
yeah.
together and just watch like 13 hours straight of movies.
Remember that?
There were a lot of
Yeah.
good ones in that lineup, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly, because we did.
Yes.
What
Do
was
the Right Thing was in there.
Yeah, which I had never seen, and that's one of my
Yeah.
favorite films of all
Favorite
time.
films,
Still,
yeah.
I mean, Do the Right Thing is amazing. It also we did French Connection, I think,
French
was in
Connection,
there.
yeah, great film.
I don't remember
Uh,
what else was in there. You might know.
yeah, I did Quick Change, which was the Bill Murray film.
After Hours too,
After Hours,
that
another
was another one,
amazing film. Yeah.
which I hadn't
So
seen.
yeah, but yeah, that I love watching The Warriors every time it comes on. Like if I'm going from channel to channel, I see it, I watch it. Yeah, so I just have to bring up The Warriors. Everyone should watch The Warriors.
Yeah, of course.
It's also a very good action film, or gritty drama, but it's also, like I said, if you want to see New York City as its grungiest, that would be one of the movies I love about it. So,
Yeah, that's great. Great choice.
what's yours?
Well, I did this kind of quick, so I didn't have a lot of thoughts prepared
Yeah,
on it,
yeah.
but I do think it ties in directly to the movie that we talked about, which is the Babadook by Jennifer Kent, which is an Australian film
Yeah,
about a
great
mother
film.
who's also struggling with a difficult child and
Yes,
her, fears of becoming the worst mom. This is
mom.
very
Yeah,
similar. I think it's a very similar movie, honestly.
yeah, yeah.
It's just definitely more of a horror film than
Horror
a
film.
just drama thriller,
Drama.
stressful thriller. But yeah, a lot of the same concepts are portrayed in that film, and a brilliant use of stop motion and
Yes,
true. There's sequences in it that I'll never forget. I mean, every once in a while we'll see like the clothes. We have on the
yes,
back of our door. We have like hoodies hung up on there, and like every once in a while we're like, oh man, it really does look like the Babadook.
yes.
Um, and the kid's really good in it. It's a great
Yeah, yeah,
film. Jennifer Kent. I don't know. I know I watched her second film. I don't remember what else she did after it, but
yeah.
she
Right.
did the one was an adaptation of the book, period piece, revenge flick. I'm going blank on the name. That was really good too. But anyway, The Babadook is I think her debut feature, and it's amazing.
Yes.
And I think I don't know if it's a better. I think it might be a little better than If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, just overall. But it's also
Yes.
because it's a genre film. I think it's a little more accessible. But
Yes.
it still deals with a lot of the same ideas, and it's really thrilling and fun. So highly recommend that as well. And I think
Yes.
it's
I love that movie.
it'd
Yeah.
make a good double feature if you could sit through both of those movies back to back. But yeah, well, anyway,
The
that's it for
Nightingale
us this
is a
week.
movie.
The
Yeah.
Nightingale,
The
yes,
Nightingale.
I liked that as well. Anyway, yeah, go watch the Babadook. It's great. If you
Watch
haven't seen it.
Babadook. Watch The Warriors. Watch
If I Had
My
Legs, I'd
Legs
Kick
and
You.
Kick You.
I
If
recommend it. You should watch it.
I mean, yeah, you know.
Just know what you're in for. If you know what you're in
Exactly.
for, I think.
I like that the asterisk that you got.
Yeah, it's like watching. Yeah, it's like it's Safdie brothers do Motherhood.
Motherhood, right? All right,
Anyway.
brother. So then we'll pick this up next week with the new film. So until then, I'm Carlos Hernandez.
And I'm Jeremy Knight.
You guys have a great night. You take care. Bye.